Owen Farrell returns for England and Marcus Smith is at fullback. My name's Mark. Let's talk rugby. England beat Chile. It's at the Stade Pierre Moreau in Lille. It's on Saturday 23rd of September. Kickoff is 4:45 BST. This is world number 6 versus world number 22. So big disparity between them. But, Chile has shown like that, reputations and world rankings don't mean anything to them. They're going to come out and try and give you a game. And, they've looked impressive, albeit without winning so far. We're going to have a look at the team, starting with England. So fullback, big story, Marcus Smith in there instead of Freddie Stewart. So we knew it was going to happen at some stage during the World Cup. He's probably going to go well at fullback, and there are going to be calls for him to replace Stewart as the starting fullback in the bigger games. Personally, I don't see that happening, but sometimes with the England team, it almost seems like the media have these agendas and they push them and they get a certain player into a position and then that player messes up and then they tear them down. So we'll have to see what happens with Marcus Smith on that one. But for this type of game, I think he's a great fullback to have in there. Second playmaker, but also a dangerous strike runner as well. I think against tougher opposition, he would be probably tested a lot in the air, and also just his defensive positioning as well. Right wing then is Henry Arundel, very exciting young player. He scores some amazing long range tries. He's very elusive runner as well. So, expect to see him getting plenty of ball and maybe getting onto the score sheet a couple of times. Centres then, we've got Elliot Daly and Ollie Lawrence. So, not a selection that you would make for, again, tougher opposition, but for Chile, a lot of their work is probably going to be, on the offensive. So they're decent on that side of the ball. And again, no disrespect to Chile, but I think both of them will have moments in the game, at least when they have positive impacts. Left wing then is Max Malins. So he's kind of dropped down a little bit in terms of the pecking order for the wings. May and Daly have been the starting wings. So for him, like he's got to produce a performance and try to force his way back into that starting position. Owen Farrell at 10, returning from his suspension. He's seen George Ford guide England to those first 2 victories, especially when he dug them out of a massive hole against Argentina with, just a masterclass, drop goals, his tactical kicking as well, and moving his field around, or his team around the right parts of the field. So Owen Farrell is going to want to re-establish himself as number 1 choice, at least in the eyes of Borthwick, probably not in the eyes of the media, but as long as he's getting picked there, he won't really care about what the media are saying. 9, then we got Danny Kerr. So for Kerr and Youngs, who's on the bench, both of them have something to prove. They got to push themselves on, because Alex Mitchell came from basically not being in the squad. Then Van Poortvliet got injured, and then he leapfrogged both of those to be the starting 9. So you can expect Kerr to be trying to make an impression here. Front row, you got Bevan Rod, Theo Dan, and Kyle Sinclair. Sinclair, another one who's dropped down the pecking order, gone from starter to being on the bench for most of the big games. You expect a big game from him. Rod and Dan, it'll be good experience for them in the World Cup here, and in that unit as well, and they're all going to want to perform. Then you got Ribbons and Martin. At the moment, that's really just a kind of head-to-head almost between them for a bench spot until something happens to Itoje and Chesham, I think. The back row then, you got Lewis Ludlam, Jack Willis, we're finally seeing him at 7, and Billy Vunipola there at 8. So, it's a decent looking back row in terms of like Willis is going to be super competitive at the breakdown. Ludlam and Vunipola both going to be looking to carry the ball as well. And, it might be a bit of a contest between them to see who has the most impact on the ball. Still, Billy Vunipola, haven't seen him have the impact that he had when he was in his pomp, but, he's had difficulty getting a string of games together as well. So we'll see how he goes. Onto the bench then we have Jack Walker at hooker, Joe Marler and Will Stewart as the props. So they'll probably come on. I'd imagine, Borthwick will want to get at least 60, 65 minutes out of his starting props, if not a little bit more. And, to save these guys for another day. Same with Ollie Chesham as well. Then we got Ben Earl there covering the back row. Got Ben Youngs covering 9. George Ford covering 10 again. You probably wouldn't see him coming on too early because Farrell needs game time because he's been out for a bit, and Marcus Smith needs game time as well. So can't really, unless there's an injury, can't really see him coming on too early. And the same with Joe Marchant. I think it's just cover in case there's injury and then bring him on towards the end for a bit of a run out. Okay, so the Chile team, you got Lewis, Bohm and Dittus in the front row. Dittus has had, a very eventful World Cup. He got a yellow card, he got a try, really having an impact both positively and negatively for his team. But he's put himself about as well a lot, and very competitive at the breakdown. Been impressed with him when he's been on the field. The second row then we got Saavedra and Eisman there. They've been decent at times as well, looking to get through an amount of work and not afraid to carry ball up. Then the back row, we got Sigren, the captain, again, a player who has impressed. We've got Silva and Escobar there. Escobar, I think, was him, or there's 2 Escobars in the team, but I know one of them got a try. I just don't remember which one. I think it might have been him, though. Into the backs then, we got Videla and Fernandez at halfbacks. So, they're going to look to do well against this England team. England haven't been that hot on attack, but I'm expecting that to change at least in this. So if England are being a little more adventurous, maybe there's going to be a little more space for these guys to potentially exploit. We got then left wing is Velarde. Centers, we got Garafulik and Saavedra. So that's Domingo Saavedra this time. So Garafulik, again, he's another one who has been impressive. He took over the kicking in one of the games as well, right? When things weren't going that great for them from the tee. On the right wing then we have Game, I think it's Game though. And fullback is Uros. So no Ayarza, who is, he looks like he's on the bench. Yeah, he is. On the bench then we have Dusalant, Lastra and Gurachaga are the front row replacements. Then we got Huete and Orchard for the rest of the forwards. Then we have Martinez, Carvalho and Ayarza. So Ayarza, I'm not sure why he's on the bench, because he was probably their most impactful back as far as I could see, especially against Wales. So I definitely would have kept him in the team. Maybe, I don't know, is he carrying a knock or something? But he was very impressive, and I would just find a place to put him in the team, really. But expect him to have impact when he comes on. In terms of how I think the game is going to go. So England, they've improved game on game. I expect them to improve again in this one. I expect Chile to, be in the game early on, but England, they've picked a side that, you know, is there to score tries, and I think they will do that. They will get a bonus point win, and they'll probably pull away towards the end. We'll then get some calls about, you know, Marcus Smith should be starting or Arundel should be starting, etc. But it's hard, you know, if the game goes the way I think it's going to go. It's hard really to have those calls after, you know, that type of game, because when they step up, that's when you're going to see whether those players can really do it at a Rugby World Cup or not. But as I said, I think Chile, they're going to have moments in the game. I hope they get a try or two, because their play over the entire tournament so far definitely, you know, they deserve that. They deserve some reward for the adventure that they've shown, and just the excitement that they generate as well. Just by, you can see that the players are enjoying just being at a Rugby World Cup, and that's great to see. And it just makes you want to see them do well. England, like, there are a lot of people that don't want to see England do well, but I think that in this game they are going to do well. I've already said that I think that they're pretty much already through to the quarterfinal. They're just kind of, you know, dot the I's and cross the T's, and a bonus point win in this is one of those, you know, things left on the list, and I think they're going to get that.